Hello, everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. Tuesday's rolled around really quickly again. I think the weeks are just really flying by at the moment. A couple of a few quick reminders. August Craft Retreat, the 1st and 2nd of August. So that, of course, is the first weekend in August. Registration does close on the 11th of July. The cost for one day is $85, for the two is $120. For your money, you will get $50 worth of products. There's gifts, giveaways, there's challenges, and of course, lots of craft time along with chatting and laughing. They tend to be very social sort of events, and it's a great place to get some inspiration from other people as well. So, August Craft Retreat. You will notice on my page I'm sharing just a little bit more about Craft Retreat and some of the benefits of attending. So please take a few moments to read those posts. They'll be posting around lunchtime, 12:30ish each day. Okay, the other reminder is Your Stash, Your Style. This is a weekly card class that you get to use all your products you currently have at home, because we all have such beautiful products and sometimes they just don't get used. So this class is the perfect way to use those. We did start the July class last night, which was a lot of fun. So the ladies who attended, I think, did enjoy making some cards using the products that they have at home. And I will be sharing some of those with you very soon as well. So for July, it's not too late if you would like to join in. I would be joining though fairly soon, because otherwise you'll be more than just 1 week behind as such on what you are creating. Okay, so they're my reminders. I've got some other stuff as well, but I wasn't quite prepared enough before getting on live. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down a little on my computer. And okay, and I have a comment. Hello, Carol. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so the stamps that I'm going to be using tonight, and I'm going to be making a card that is a really good one for men. This stamp set is called Thanks Man. Let me just hold this up. So here it is here. It is on page 56 of our catalogue. The cost of this stamp set is $35, and it is a really good one. You can use it for male and female, but I love that it does include bro, dude, bra, man. So there are some just fun ways of addressing those men in your life. Okay, so that is the stamp set. And of course, that is what it looks like in the flesh. And I do have mine all stuck in, so it actually doesn't go anywhere inside the cover. I have inked all of the stamps while they've been on the plastic, stamped them, and then I've stuck down the piece, or the bottom piece of acetate has been stuck down. Let me just peel this up. Has been stuck down onto the base so that I can see at a glance what stamps are what. Okay, so that is the stamp set. Let me show you the card. It is a nice simple design that is going to work with pretty much anything that you choose to do. So the colour I've used for this is Peaceful Pine, which is one of the new in colours. Probably out of the current lot of in colours, this is my favourite. I think this is going to be really fantastic green for Christmas as well. So this is what I'm making or sharing with you tonight. The Designer Series paper is from a 12 by 12 stack, which has all of the new in colours in it. So that is where my stripy Designer Series paper has come from. So let me share with you what products I'll be using. My card base, as always, is half a sheet of A4. So this is the Peaceful Pine that I've just cut in half. I have got 2 pieces of white. These measure 10 centimetres by 14.4, one for the outside, one for the inside. I have got another piece of Peaceful Pine, and this one measures 7.5 by 7. So this piece of white measures 6.5 by 7. So those two are going to mat together. my piece of designer series paper, and it's just got lighter stripes on the back. These ones look to be done more with a paintbrush, I guess. So this piece of designer series paper measures 14 centimeters by 3. I have a piece of Peaceful Pine. This is 10 centimeters by 2. And I've also got a thin strip of white, which measures 11 centimeters by 1. So they're just to create my banners. I also have a piece of Peaceful Pine ribbon. This is linen thread, so that's about 25 centimeters of linen thread, and I've got 3 rhinestones as well, which I'm going to colour those to match in with the green. Okay, so let's get started with this card. Okay, as always, folding your card base in half. And I'm just going to pop that aside. We do have our stamping to do. So I'm going to do this, of course, a happy birthday, which is on the one stamp. I do like this stamp set simply because the font is quite bold compared to some of the other ones. Oops, it's not picking up. My block must be a little bit dirty. And we've got, we might do Happy Birthday Dude. As mentioned, the font is nice and bold. So with this, you could put all of the words on one block. I'm just doing them separately because I find that just as easy. And of course, with the photopolymer stamp set, you can line up the words very, very easily. Okay, so as I mentioned, Peaceful Pine. And these are the magnetic ink pads. Let me see how wet this is at the moment. I might need to move. Oh, that's actually not too bad. With the newer ink pads, this one has been used a little bit. I find that they are a little bit wet to begin with. As they get used, the ink gets used a bit more, of course, it dries out, so it does stamp a little bit better. So let's see how this goes. So we've got the Happy Birthday, hopefully straight, even pressure, Happy Birthday, and we've got Dude, which again, stamping well. Again, hoping I've stamped that relatively straight. Actually, that looks pretty good. There we go. So this is a nice, simple card. You can use, with this design, you can use any paper you have, any colour, as long as you've got your sentiment, whatever that happens to be. This card design is going to work really, really well. Okay, so that is the sentiment done. So I will stick this straight onto the piece of Peaceful Pine, and I'm using Stamp and Seal, which is what I pretty much always use. I think once you find that adhesive that you really love, I think you tend to stick with it. Okay, so these two, will stick those together. Oh, no, I shouldn't have. I need to see if I can lift that up. I can. I need to put the piece of ribbon on first, so let me carefully get this up without ripping it. And of course, if you haven't pressed it down too hard, you can do that. All right, there we go. Doesn't even look like I've made a mistake. Okay, with my ribbon, I'm going to be folding that in half, and it is going to be almost being wrapped around my piece of Peaceful Pine. To make it easy, I am going to use a little bit of sticky tape on the back and also on the front, just to hold it in place to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so with my piece of linen thread, I'm going to be tying a bow around this, and I'm just going to be sitting a block on there just to hold my piece of cardstock still, because otherwise you kind of, I guess, end up with your smaller piece of cardstock moving around the table a little bit. Okay, so I'm tying a bow with this, and this is just an ordinary shoelace bow, which some nights can be a little bit tricky when you're using either baker's twine or linen thread. There we go. And then you can see that just cinches in the ribbon a little bit. Let me see how that's gone. I think that's looking okay. I might just move that in. So I'll see if I can move it in just a little bit further, a little bit closer to the card. Okay, there we have it. So that is that piece done. I'm just going to tuck that little tail under there because I need to put my sentiment over the top. All right, even though I've got my double-sided tape on this one already, I'm actually going to put some dimensionals behind it. So this card I actually made for a swap when I did a retreat a few months back, and then I also used it for one of the projects for the catalogue launch that I did. So I'm still working through all of them. I've almost shown you in Facebook Live all of the cards that we used for the launch event. I think there might be 2 more to do, or 2 more to share. Okay, so the Take Your Pick tool, of course, is one that I always use, and I've just stabbed into the back of the little papers to remove those. Actually, and you know, one thing I forgot to do was to grab out the giveaway cards. So I might come back and actually do another Facebook Live on Thursday, and I'll share the winners of those giveaways, because it only just dawned on me. I think I got home from work, or after work I did groceries like I usually do, and then ran late getting dinner organised. So I think I'll come back on Thursday and do another Facebook Live, share another card with you, and we'll also draw the winners of the giveaway card. Okay, so I have now just trimmed up the tails on the linen thread, and I'm also going to trim up the tails on the ribbon as well. And I've done those one a little bit shorter than the other. Okay, I'm going to pop that aside for a moment. So my next pieces will be the strips of the Designer Series paper. So this green one here will actually sit underneath the piece of Designer Series paper, and then the white one will sit over the top, and then the sentiment over the top of that. So first I'm going to create or make this into, just might go that way, a little banner. So to do the banner, I'm going to snip in the center. So this is the 3 centimeters, so about the 1.5 centimeter mark I've snipped in, and I've gone in not quite a centimeter, and then I'm going to cut out the little triangles from the corner to where I snipped in. Oh, there we go, that shows up a bit better. Flip it over and do the same on the other side, which gives you a nice even banner. For the piece of Peaceful Pine, I haven't done that a banner because, as you can see just here, there's only a small amount of it showing, and I do want a little bit of an angle, so I'm going to cut a little triangle off one end. Okay, so I'm going to use, I'll move out this white piece because I'll probably end up getting Tombow oozing out. A thin strip of Tombow, and of course you can use your double-sided tape. And then let me see where I'm going to put this. So that can go around about there. And I will be trimming off some of the Designer Series paper from this end. Okay, so there is that bit, and you can see that little bit of the cut off that I've done. Okay. So next I'm going to be sticking this piece here onto my piece of white that measures 10 centimetres by 14.4. So some Stampin' Seal. And this is going to be positioned about halfway up the card. I think that's pretty straight. So about there. So I've got a nice little gap there, and trimming off this little tiny bit here. I think that's going to work okay. It will, because then I've got my sentiment to sit over the top. Okay, I do have my 1 centimetre by 11 centimetre strip of white, and I'm going to make this into a little banner as well. So again, in the middle of that, at about the 0.5 centimetre mark, snipping in about 0.5 centimetre, and of course cutting out those little triangles. All that does is give you a nice even little banner. Okay, I'm going to use some thin double-sided tape to stick this on. Simply because then there's no mess. And I don't have to worry about the Tombow oozing, because I find that if I use too much, of course, that does ooze out from underneath your cardstock. And this is going to line up towards the top of the banner, about there. Okay, so next I have got my sentiment, which I've got my ribbon already on. This is going to be stuck onto the card front using dimensionals. So there's a couple of layers of dimensionals for this card. And of course, I think most cards need at least, I'm going to say 1 layer of dimensionals. Just gives it a little bit more interest, I guess, and a little bit of height. Okay, so stabbing into the back of the papers to collect all of those up. Okay, so this is going to be stuck on around about there. So as I mentioned earlier, a really simple design. I will share the measurements. I might, when I share the actual photo of this one, I will also share the measurements, because I might do up a sketch for it too, so that way then you can see the actual measurements alongside each piece. Okay, so I've still got to do my rhinestones, but I'm going to get this stuck onto my card front first, and I am using Stampin' Seal. And of course I haven't done the reminder, so when you're using this, remember, just a light hand. So if you don't have a lot of strength in your hands, or perhaps you have some arthritis in your hands, Stampin' Seal is one of the best adhesives you can use, because you don't need to use too much pressure, but just remember that little tick, just to tick it off at the end, just to break the stream of adhesive, because otherwise it kind of ends up, looks like sort of stringy bubble gum. Okay, so again, for the inside with my second piece of white that measures 10 centimetres by 14.4. And of course, feel free to stamp on the inside or put a little strip of Designer Series paper, just a little something to finish it off. Okay, so now I've got my rhinestones. And the other bonus with this card, it's a nice quick one to do. So yeah, it does make a bit of a difference. Let me just check to see if I've got any more comments. I don't, and that's okay. I just thought I would check because sometimes my phone, because I do all this through my phone, sometimes I don't see the comments from my phone, and sometimes I've had trouble with it showing up on the computer as well. Okay, so to colour in my rhinestones, I am going to be using one of the Peaceful Pine alcohol markers or Stampin' Blends. These are fantastic because they dry nice and quick. Okay, so I think I'll use the darker one. And I am using the bullet end, which is a little bit harder than the paintbrush end. And I'm going to just colour these in. So it takes just a few minutes to do, not even that. And being the alcohol marker, they do dry nice and quick. So if you want to get more depth in your colour, you can go and colour them a second time. Pretty much straight away as well, because they do dry nice and quick. Okay, I think they're pretty good. And then take your pick tool, of course, and I'm using the putty end for this one. And I've got some nice new putty. I did a Facebook Live for a class last night, and I actually ended up breaking off the putty and starting over. And then you just have to slide off your embellishment and put those where you would like them to go. So this tool makes it really very, very easy to get your embellishments right where you want them. I used to use, before we got the Take Your Pick tool, I used to use tweezers, and they'd often flick across the room. So you'd find them when you were vacuuming, or they'd end up sticking to your socks or your shoes. So it's really nice not to lose the embellishments anymore. So that is what I've got for you. A very, very simple men's card. Again, it's a design that can be used with any papers you like. I think I've done this a second time, and I'll share it as well with you, just using some different papers and different colours, and it looked really fabulous in that one as well. Okay, so just very, very quickly, reminders from earlier as well. August Craft Retreat, registration closes on the 11th, so there's a few more days to go. Any questions about that, please let me know. And you can find all of the details under the events tab on my page, which you're sitting on now. So so please feel free to go and take a look at those details. And of course, any questions, please let me know. That's it. That's all I've got for you. I will be back on Thursday night to do another Facebook Live and actually share the winners of the giveaway cards, because I forgot to do that before I got on live. So yes, so I will be back Thursday, so looking forward to seeing you all there. Then thank you so much, Carol, for watching, and thank you to anyone else who's watching as well. I appreciate you taking a bit of time to spend with me tonight. So until Thursday, take care, everyone.